What's going on, Josh?
How you doing, Zilla?
I'm doing really good. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Is that a Knicks jersey I see underneath
Yes,
that?
R.J. Barrett.
Oh, you guys
R.J.
won
Barrett.
that proud.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Knicks are back, baby.
Thank you. I brought it during his rookie year, but I've been a lifelong fan, so you know.
All right, good.
Man, this character, the Utopian, he is Sheldon. He is a super complex character. I love what you guys did with it. There's a line where your character goes, lethal force without due process is not justice. I paused the show. I wrote it down. I'm like, wow, can we put that on billboards all over the place? Because people don't get it that you're not supposed to kill the bad guys either. And saying that line, you probably didn't know the gravity it held at the time you said it. But after everything that took place over the last 2 years, how does it feel for that line to come out of your mouth?
Yeah, you know what? You're the first person that's asked me about that, and you're right. And that actually answers a lot of questions about this code and trying to wrap my head around it for so long while we're shooting it. I asked constantly, we're having conversations about this code and what does it mean, and we don't kill no matter what, and he truly believes it. But that's actually really, what is it? Lethal force without
due process is not justice. And then the very next scene, the cop goes, I will pop them off one by one. I was like, bro, this can't happen. This can't happen. What are you talking about?
Well, it's very interesting because people oftentimes see him the other way, on the other side of this whole thing. And the truth is, he truly got the best interest, and this is a man who wants the greater good. And as rigid as he is in these beliefs, there is a North Star sort of element to this belief system, is sort of antiquated as it might seem at times, but he truly believes that there's always a better way. There's always another way. We don't kill. We just don't kill. Not even if they're about to kill me or if they're about to kill you, we don't do it. And it's a hard thing to wrap your head around when you're thinking about that as your son or your kid. And I don't know, man. If somebody's trying to take my kid out, I don't know if I would have that same.
Right. As a new father, I feel the same way, man. I'm just like, I don't know what I would do. But then your relationship with the children in this, Chloe and Brandon, they're so complex. Losing a daughter who's like, F you, I don't care what you say. And the son, you're like, come on, man up, live up to this. Oh, that's crazy. And the daughter, Chloe, she's going through this thing where she's on covers of magazines. They're portraying her to be larger in life, but yet she's battling her personal demons. What is that like when you realize that the public doesn't really care that you have your own personal issues to go through? They still want you, to be there, and they feel like this is what you signed up for, so I'm going to get in your business.
Yeah, it's an incredible amount of pressure, and I think you can see that on his face 90 years after they get these powers. You can see, and it's interesting because we look to these superhero stories as like an escapism or a wish fulfillment or the wonder of it all. But the truth is, what does that do to you? What, the amount of pressure that must be to have to deal with this day in and day out for so long. And then to, have given your life to this cause, and then look back at it and go, wait, maybe I wasn't as present of a father as I needed to be, and he's realizing that he doesn't know how to connect with his kids. He can fly around the world in 12 seconds and shoot laser beams from his eyeballs, but he can't connect with his 20-year-old daughter. And that is human, and it's relatable. And that's what I loved about this story. And, his daughter never asked for these powers. She thinks it's ridiculous. He believes that we were given these to, help humanity, and he puts this pressure on his son to sort of live up to the same ideals that he's always lived by, and it's just too much for these kids. And I think he's realizing that, I need to reassess, and I need to change with these changing times, or they're going to pass me by. Yeah. And there's a lot of really powerful themes that are at play in the show, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, I watched the whole season. I thought it's really great. I cannot wait to see what people think of it. They're wrapping me up, so thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me, my brother.
Zilla, I appreciate it. Go Knicks, baby.
Absolutely. Leslie, good to see you again.
How are you?
I'm very good. I can't complain. Can't complain at all.
Good.
I watched the entire season of Jupiter's Legacy in the last 2 days.
Did you like it?
It was a great ride. I really enjoyed it. I love the messages in the movie. There's a scene where the utopian is talking to your character, and he says, capital punishment without due process is not justice. And after everything we've been through over the last couple of years, like, wow, that line has so much power. And the very next scene, the cop is like, we just want to pop them off one by one. When you hear stuff like that and see stuff like that play out on the screen and in real life, how does that make you feel to be a part of something that has a message so strong and so relevant to them?
Well, I felt like what's interesting is, so we did this in 2019. So it wasn't the world of 2020, right? So I remember feeling like, oh, we're talking about themes that felt relevant. And I thought, oh, well, that's cool. We're going to be doing something. But now the fact that it's even more relevant, it feels exciting. It feels like, you want to be on the right side of, I just want to be on the right side of it. Right. And so I think that it's interesting to be a part of the show that's in what's happening in the zeitgeist and what's happening in the world. And I hope that it gets people thinking. I mean, I know that also too, that you're seeing, what I found exciting is for Grace is that you see this woman who's pivoting and not sure and realizing that the way we used to do things is not the way we have to do it. And that with great power comes great responsibility. And it's exciting. I mean, if anybody sits down and has a conversation, and is impacted and feels something, I think we've done something correct. I mean, it's so weird that we did this show and now we're in a pandemic and we've had what's happening societally and all over the world with it's wild, isn't it? It's just and
you like, guys touch on the Spanish flu in this thing too. You guys are hitting every note. It's like,
I know, it's kind of weird, right? It's strange. But I do think it's cool to be a part of a show that's talking about things that are happening now.
I saw an interview with Mike Millar where he said he made this series to be better than anything Marvel has ever done. Now, when you hear the creator of a show raise the bar that high,
I don't know. It makes me nervous.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you have any water? I don't know. To me, that's like, what is the best? It's like, it's hard for me to do that. So I think I have to look at what I do. So for me, I do the work. I try to create a character that is real, that is three-dimensional, that I find her voice, and I'm going to try to portray her the best I can, and hopefully connect with people out there in her journey. And that's all I can do. I don't know about being better than Marvel or being better than DC. It's hard to be better than those people because they've done it really, they've done it for so long, and we're not reinventing the wheel. I mean, comics have been, but I do think what Mark has done is he's created, what is cool about this show is I feel like you haven't seen the family aspect of the show. There's that dinner table scene in the first episode. And there's something about that dinner table scene that I was like, oh, we've never seen this. And also too, like, you start to do a show and you're like, oh, they're superheroes. Well, to me, that feels like, I don't know how to act that. That's like this, it doesn't feel relatable. Like, what's relatable to me is that these people have jobs and that just happen to be saving the world, but it's about the relationships between the husband and the wife, the children, the brothers. And that feels biblical. It feels Shakespearean. It feels Greek. It feels, feel like there are themes, epic themes that seem very relatable, and that somebody's watching it and go, I know what that's like. Oh, I know what it's like to be a mother and trying to like work and try to connect with my husband and try to keep my, and for me, Grace is the glue for that family. And she's somewhat the glue with the union. and everything is sort of breaking apart at the seams.
Yeah.
And that messy part is an exciting part. It's kind of what I feel like is happening in our world right now. Everything feels like it's breaking at the seams. But to me, I get excited at that time because it means that we're going to break through a ceiling. We're going to evolve. We're going to, like, you have to, there's going to be an evolution, you know, there's going to be a revolution. So it's an exciting time. And so that's what I feel like is percolating in this world. And I think that feels like a similar trajectory of what's happening in the world, which doesn't always happen, you know, like sometimes when you'd watch Game of Thrones, I'd be like, well, there's dragons and there's this, but when I'd always go back to the family dynamic and those human relationships, if you don't have that, you don't have a show. Absolutely. So I hope that's what we have.
To see Grace reel in Chloe. So thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me.
Thank you. And thanks for watching the show. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Take care. What's going on, guys? Thank you very much for talking to me.
Hey, man. How you doing, Mr. Valentine?
I'm good,
man.
No
beanie.
Complaint.
Love the beanie.
Yeah, I'm a Knicks fan, so I had to throw in the orange beanie. I had to do it.
Hold up. All about color.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's
go.
Let's go. Man, let's get right into it. Jupiter's Legacy is a great show. I binge watched the entire series within the last 3 days. Yeah. You guys get to do some phenomenal and fantastic stuff with these characters. I want to start with you, Hutch. Well, Ian, sorry, I called you Hutch. I want to start with you. Your character is so complex and layered on so many levels. How was it for you to dive into this character and bring him to life?
Oh, it was a joy. I mean, like Mark first said, he was the next Han Solo, which I was like, okay, I got big shoes to fill. And then the costume designers put me in this outfit. But then what I was thinking about is that there's this guy who literally in a world of like superheroes, supervillains, bad guys, good guys, doesn't subscribe to any of it. And he lives in this little gray area that nobody's paying attention to, which allows him to come and go as he wants. And then you got this union that he thinks is completely hypocritical. And this like superhero utopian dude who to him doesn't live up to his own code. So I started with, who's the guy that's going to crash a bus through that dude's like code of ethics, you know? That was my plan. So it was like the complexities. Yeah, this guy right here, basically, yeah.
And Elena, was it fun for you to go into these dark places? Because Chloe's a party girl. She's really like rebellious. As a dad of a teenager, I'm like, oh my God. What was it for you?
Oh my God, I was ready for it. Throw me in the pain zone, Zilla, because she is such a cool character. And reading the comic books, once I booked this, I was like, oh my goodness, like her arc is so cool. Like she goes on a journey. So this is such an important part of her character, is that attitude, right? And you know, her sass, you never know what she's going to say or do the next minute. She's so unpredictable. She's mysterious. And that was a lot of fun. I also particularly looked forward to the whole Clutch romance that came into the picture, because he's just like her soulmate, you know what I mean? Like they are perfect for each other, and he represents everything that she's looking for, because no one else embraces her and gets her. You know, she's rebelling against this code that's imposed on her by her father, who invented all of these rules that she just doesn't want to be boxed in by and judged by. But I will not deny, it was fun to like chuck Lamborghinis, punch people through walls. Yeah. Like, what next?
And I want to ask this question, and this is for all of you, whoever wants to answer. I know I should ask directly, but celebrities are in magazines and media, they're larger than life. They put you on covers or front pages, and Chloe is struggling with her own demons behind the scenes. What is that like to navigate those worlds? Because a lot of times when you're a celebrity, when you book a great show like Jupiter's Legacy, people don't allow you to be human. So what is that like for all of you?
Wow. Well, you make a great point, Zilla, because I think that's a big part of why she has like so much self-loathing she's navigating, is like her coping mechanism for that world you're describing is drugs and alcohol. Because she doesn't, you know, it's all about putting on like this facade of perfection, which is what she feels her parents are doing with this invincible veil that they're putting out there of like as being symbols almost of worship. So her way of coping with what you're talking about is turning it to drugs, and she gets in that spiral of addiction. So it's very difficult. It's a difficult world to be in, especially when you feel like you're under a microscope and everything you do is getting picked apart. But I think it's, you know, I for me, I don't know you guys, but like having a family, a Greek father, like helps keep me grounded and like your feet to the ground. And I'm also in Jersey right now. I live in Jersey.
Jersey.
So, yes! There you go. We're representing. So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think like one thing Hutch and Andrew, you go, please.
No, I just agree with Elena. Just it's about surrounding yourself with the right people, you know, like knowing who your tribe is and who you can trust to give you the real talk if you're getting too big for your boots, and also knowing the people who are gonna be there for you when the times get tough. You know, like trolls are just, you know, people who've got nothing better to do. Like what they say doesn't define who you are. And like ultimately, like those people who are next to you, like if they think that stuff about you and they're the closest people, then you've got a problem. But whoever else is saying it just to get a reaction, it's like, that's the stuff you don't need to pay attention to. Obviously, you know, it hasn't really happened to me a great deal. I can't speak for either of these two, but it's something that scares me. But knowing that I have the right people around me is the biggest comfort. Yeah.
My list of, like for me, it's like, I am, you can check a series of boxes and you might think you know me, like actor, male, biracial, these things you might actually think of like, now you think you know me, but like we are all much more than our occupations or you know, our interests or our hobbies. Like we're multifaceted individuals. And I think that's also what Mark is trying to show in this series, that we're human beings. And so we can't just project what we think we know about this person onto them. Because actually that dehumanizes that very person.
Yeah, well, thank you guys very much. I wish I had more time to talk to you guys. Excellent series. Can't wait to see where you go from here. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you
so much, man. And you.
Let's go, Knicks.
Yes.